Yeah, everyone's scrambling to do something for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of scrambling to do something, I think our last story for the week here is a story that I don't think too many people are talking about, which is that MasterCard has made some moves with Google, and they've co-developed this thing called verifiable intent. Now the details are a bit murky, but basically the idea is that it's a framework for enabling AI agents to use the MasterCard network while still keeping all the guardrails, the chargebacks in place, right? So it's like they're using cryptographic techniques, not cryptocurrency or blockchain networks or anything, just some cryptographic techniques. And they're creating sort of a chain of records that can prove that the user who owns the account, the human, authorized the action, and then the agent followed those instructions. The merchant received a valid request, and this sort of stack of this forensic stack can be used to then later, if there's a dispute, right, to verify, whether a chargeback is warranted. Now, what's interesting about this, I guess, is that there's one way you could look at it is like, okay, the MasterCard, like the traditional payments network, they're scrambling also to make themselves relevant in the AI space. So you could just be like, it's a desperate play by them. You could look at it like that. You could also, I think, look at it like, well, wait a minute, actually, maybe agents will use traditional payments networks. The traditional payments networks are trying to make themselves accessible to agents. So the whole narrative that AI agents will, of course, just always use crypto is not guaranteed. And I think that assumption is sort of widely made in the crypto space. Yeah, of course, AI agents are going to use crypto. I would just say this little story here is evidence that that's not 100% guaranteed, or at least there may be a lane for AI agents to use the traditional payments networks.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before we went live, and I agree with that there will be a use case for them. I do think though that in a if and when agents get good enough that you can trust them with your credentials, Graham, and your money, then I really do believe that I think I heard this articulated last week, that agents will become the intermediate for everything or most things that you do in your life. One of the biggest lock-ins you see in all these different verticals, like Amazon, for example, is the fact that humans are kind of lazy, and they once they give their information, their credit card information, they set up the addresses and all that acts as a pretty significant moat, right? You'd rather just buy it on Amazon and pay a couple more dollars or whatever than go to some other website and then buy it for a couple dollars cheaper. I know that works with me. Like if I'm buying something and I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy a shirt, and then the shirt is on their own website, but it's also on Amazon for a couple dollars more. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Amazon, one click, yay! I don't have to do anything. Don't have to put in my credit card information, no address, just off we go.
Yeah,
come on, that's what we're doing now. Citrini's article, he talks about this, where agents will get good enough, they'll have your credentials, and they're not lazy. They don't care about that kind of effort at all. And they'll just go out to every nook and cranny and find the best deal possible, true, good, guaranteed deal, and they'll negotiate with an agent on the other side of that, and off you go. So when I'm like, I want this wool shirt, I tell my agent I want this shirt. They go off and they find it, right? Wherever it is. DoorDash is the same, right? Like, so you'll start to see a lot of these intermediates get kind of whittled away. MasterCard and Visa are also an intermediary, right? They're this payment processor, which is also kind of like a middleman. So a lot of their volume, I think, will be taken away by AI, because why do you have to pay 2 to 3% to them, right? Now they could maybe try to be competitive, right? But then you're that 2 to 3% is going to get compressed down to kind of like nothing, to bare bones, right? And so for a lot of their volume, I think is going to be taken away. The one lane that I think they will retain, though, is like big purchases, because then you do kind of want recourse, right? If you're going to spend, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 on a plane ticket or whatever, I probably would be comfortable with paying 1 to 2 to 3%, maybe not. But anyway, something like that, right? To have some kind of recourse in case there's something nefarious or malicious happens. So then you can call the company, the credit card company, and be like, hey man, reverse that transaction. Here's why. That kind of thing. So I do think they'll definitely have their place, and they're not going to die completely. But I can imagine a time in the not too distant future where I'm going to be talking to my agents, and they'll hold a lot of my money, and I won't have to deal with any of that. Oh, it's going to be awesome. I hope.
Yeah. Looking forward to that future as well. We just need to, improve the security and reliability of it, I think.
Of course, the problem with this is
that's the way it's trending.
The problem with this, Graham, is I remember you and I talked about full self-driving more than 10 years ago. I remember distinctly talking to you about this. 10 years ago, we're like, it's good. And I said this, it's going to happen in the next couple of years. We're not going to need to drive my car anymore. This is ridiculous. Driving is so stupid. Oh, here we are 10 years later. It's not,
it's a tough nut to crack. All right, David, let's wrap it up there. I think we've covered the major stories of the week. Thanks for your insights as usual, and have a great week, everyone. See you on Thursday for Token Narratives.